Everyone, it's Hannah with the Heart Foundation. It's been a minute. I'm so happy to be back on live with all of you. And today's live conversation is sure to leave us all educated and inspired. Today we are talking to 28-year-old Nicole. Nicole is vibrant. She has a smile that'll knock your socks off. She's a teacher. She is so kind, and she is a heart failure survivor. We are going to talk to Nicole all about her experience with her heart health, all about the fact that she's gone into cardiac arrest 4 times in the past 2 years. That just blows my mind. So we're going to get that conversation happening here in just a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. For over 26 years, oh my gosh, I'm so used to saying 25. For over 26 years, the Heart Foundation has been advocating for the education, early detection, and prevention of heart disease. Heart disease is the number 1 cause of death for both women and men in the United States. We are very proud to support integrative groundbreaking research happening at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, which, if you didn't know, was just recently named one of the top 3 cardiology hospitals in the country by U.S. News and World Report. So we're very proud to support the incredible research that's happening there. The research that we support is under the direction of Dr. P.K. Shaw, and he and his team right now are in the middle of a phase 2 human clinical trial for a vaccine for atherosclerosis, which is a very common form of heart disease. So we are very proud to support Dr. Shaw and his team at Cedars-Sinai. And the way that we got started off was we were started when a 35-year-old man named Stephen Cohen died suddenly of a heart attack. He was, again, very young. If he was healthy to the eye, you would look at him and you'd think he's a young, active guy. He was a father to 2 young girls and experienced a heart attack while he was playing a game of basketball. His friends never wanted anyone to experience any type of loss that they had, like they had. So his friends and family and community came together and created the Heart Foundation. And here we are over 26 years later. And now Instagram Live is in the game. And so we are going to get Nicole on here to talk to us all about what she's doing. And just so you guys know, we have this live enabled as a fundraiser, so you can always donate at the bottom of your page. All of your proceeds go to the Heart Foundation and supporting research at Cedars-Sinai. And also, you can feel free to ask Nicole any questions that you want while we are doing this live, okay? So you can just drop those in the bottom. Let's get here. Here she is.
Hi. It's so nice to meet you face to face.
This is like really fun.
I know. I'm excited. I've never done this before.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm turning up my volume right now. I just put my
Wonderful.
AirPods in too.
Perfect.
Cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Nicole, welcome. Thank you so much for going live with me today and for sharing your story with us. I am so excited to educate anybody who watches this video on your story and on honestly on heart failure in general. You're so young to be experiencing this and to be living with this. So let's get started. I already told everybody, Nicole, 28 years old, incredible teacher, infectious smile. What else do we need to know about you?
Nothing. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, that's basically who I am. That's kind of how I would define myself. I'm a dog mom, and I just became a wife. So that's also
Congratulations.
important information, I guess. But yeah, so I've been teaching for about 3 years. So
What grade do you teach?
6th grade.
I always say that I peaked in the 6th grade. I feel like that's when I was at like my most confident self, was still a little, ignorant to the scary things of the world.
Yeah.
Parts of the world.
They haven't
Oh
peaked
my
yet.
God. Yeah. I know, right? Now it's like, no, we just still got to keep climbing. We're still climbing.
Yeah. Take the deodorant,
So, okay.
guys.
You teach 6th grade kids. What were you like as a kid?
Oh gosh, I was a chunky kid, but I really enjoyed playing like soccer, softball, playing outside with my friends. I was always outside. I mean, that's all I remember. I don't remember, I never played video games. My parents never let us have video games in the house. So I pretty much remember just always being really active and being with my friends all the time. Yeah. Very studious too.
I'm very studious. You kind of sound that's exactly how I was. Always running around, getting myself into playing, turning whatever I could into a game,
literally.
into a game, but then also a hardcore book nerd as well.
Absolutely. I loved reading. I loved being in school. I loved all my teachers. I was probably the teacher's pet. Yeah. But I really liked being active.
It sounds like you and I would have either been very good friends or been in competition with each other. So it's
Oh, yeah. I was the one that was hanging out in the library with the AR tests. I wanted to take all the AR tests. I hung out with the yard duties. Yeah, it was kind of weird.
that's okay. Same. Fellow weird girl. I love it. I
I
absolutely
love
love it.
it.
So you have spent your entire life being this active,
Mm.
vivacious person, and then
Yep.
a couple years ago, some things started to change. Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, I had started working in education. Previously, I was working with food service, and I had gotten a really bad cold when I got back into the classroom with kids. And I thought that
Mm-hmm.
this was really normal because I remember when I was in school, I would always get a really bad cold around September. And that's when this cold hit, and this one
Mm-hmm.
stayed. It never went away. The congestion went away, but the cough was awful. It just progressed and progressed over COVID and not being around people. It died down a little bit, but it was still there. Went back to work. It started teaching in my own classroom. It was all virtual, so I didn't have any germs or anything around me. And all of a sudden, October, November, it got of 2020, it got really bad, and it was like to the point where I was coughing so hard I'd pee myself. I would laugh, so if someone made me laugh I would start coughing, and then I would pee
Mm-hmm.
myself. um but nobody thought anything of it because it was just a really bad cough. I do remember I gained a lot of weight, and I was kind of like unsure why. I knew that I lived a very sedentary lifestyle. I don't know if I pronounced that right. My brain's kind
You're
of
good.
today. It's been a long day. Um, but I knew that I wasn't as active as I should have been because I was a new teacher teaching in COVID on the computer, so I wasn't having to stand up in front of kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, maybe the weight is just, maybe it's just from that.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't make any sense. So I went to the doctors in December. I went to urgent care, and they basically just were like, you have bronchitis. Here's prednisone. Here's an inhaler. Go get x-rays done so we can confirm this. So I went and I did that. And then the next day she calls me and she goes, well, it looks like you have tracheobronchitis, which is, I think she called it croup in babies,
Yeah.
something that's very common with kids. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. But none of the 4 kids in my classroom at the time, because kids were slowly starting to come back, none of them were sick, or if they started to show sickness, I wasn't anywhere near there. It just didn't make any sense. And then she said, but you have an x-ray that's showing that your heart is enlarged. And I was like, okay, not knowing anything. So I was very naive. She basically was just saying, you know, get a Fitbit, track your heart rate. What else? If it gets worse, go to the hospital, but you should be
So
fine.
so did you feel like maybe she was treating you a little bit differently because of your weight at that point? Did you feel like she wasn't taking you
I
seriously, or were you still just kind of like along for the ride?
Unfortunately, looking back, I think so. I think she's like, all right, we got a 26-year-old. I was 26 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
26-year-old overweight. She's young. She's probably just has bronchitis. Like nothing
Okay.
else could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then when she said you have an enlarged heart, she said make an appointment with cardiology, but it's not anything urgent. Um,
And I'm sorry, does anyone else at this point in your life, does anybody in your immediate family have heart disease?
well, my dad passed away of a heart attack, but that was more due to him not taking his medicine because he had some cholesterol issues, to my
Mm.
knowledge. Um, but that we never had reason to believe that we had heart disease in our family. Since then, I found out that my uncles have cardiomyopathy, but that one was brought on by a viral infection, and then another one was chemo. So no one ever thought, oh, this is a genetic thing. This is just,
Right.
an unfortunate,
They all seemed like they had a specific cause.
very specific cause. Yes. Um, but yeah, so at that point, when I had gone to urgent care, it was hard for me to walk just from like my kitchen to my bathroom. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not a very far walk. I have a very small house.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt just like I was working way too hard. And thinking back, like it just didn't feel like bronchitis. I feel like bronchitis is more of like a in your throat type of thing. But this was just more in my chest. I could feel in my legs being really heavy, and I just was just so exhausted.
Right. So were you kind of like hating on yourself a little bit? Like thinking,
Hmm.
I'm so lazy. Why am I not getting better?
Yeah,
This is so
yeah,
crazy. Oh my gosh, my body. Like,
yeah. Because I'd want to work out. I would
hmm
absolutely want to work out. I used to do CrossFit. I wanted
hmm
to work out, but I just would get so winded and so tired so fast. And so I remember like just trying to work out during COVID, and my sister would be like, "Come on, Nick, we gotta go. Like we gotta go for a walk." And I'd be like, I'm tired. I'm
right.
tired." And looking back, like I genuinely was tired. I wasn't just being lazy. I just couldn't do it.
Right. Because at the same time, in your head, you're 26. Why would you think that there could be anything very seriously wrong
Right.
causing all of this?
Absolutely.
So all of this kind of came to a head on Christmas, correct?
Yes. So on Christmas Day, I looked down and my feet were swollen. I looked like Shrek. My feet were so big.
Wow.
And I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, like anybody does, right? You call your mom." And I was like, "Mom, I don't know what to do." And at that point, I don't know if my like cognitive abilities were messed up or whatever, but she knew that there was something wrong with my heart, and I don't remember having that conversation with her. I don't know if I just didn't want to hear it or I just don't remember it or what. But I went to the ER and basically they admitted me right away. They knew when I told them what was going on that it was something with my heart.
Mm.
So I had gone to the ER and I couldn't get admitted until I tested negative for COVID. So that obviously took a while because it was peak of COVID, winter
And
time.
and early on, things weren't as streamlined. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was already difficult enough for me to have to go into the emergency room without my husband. That was
Right.
it was terrifying. On Christmas, by myself in the ER, just sitting there, and I felt like shit. Sorry for my language, but I literally felt like I was dying. Okay, and plot twist, I was literally dying. Um, so I had gotten admitted, and I get in my bed, and mind you, they have an IV going into my vein at the time for fluids because my blood pressure was low. And I guess after talking to a couple of nurses, like standard of care for low blood pressure is giving a patient fluid. Well, a patient that they don't know that has heart failure or is inactive heart failure, you're kind of killing that patient by putting an IV in them, giving them more fluid because they're already overloaded with fluid. Um, so I was getting those fluids and I was around like 2 o'clock and I remember thinking like I need to call someone. I cannot breathe. I like this is the worst I've felt. I need to call someone. And I had to like kind of talk to myself and be like, you're not being a burden. You're in a hospital. These people need to do their jobs. Like they're here for a reason. So you need to tell
hmm
them that there's something wrong. Because I'm very, very like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. But then finally I was like, no, Nicole, you need to do this. So I pushed my button and I said, I can't breathe. I remember like 13 people coming into my room and they knew that something was going to happen. And I looked at all of them and I mean, I couldn't pick them out of a crowd today, but I remember all of them just like kind of looking at me and I'm just sitting, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And they're telling me, I think it was like 478 or 487, like trying to get me breathing techniques. Um, because they thought that I was having a panic attack. They thought it
hmm
was just a really exacerbated panic attack, and that's what was going on. And then all of a sudden, it was lights out. I don't remember anything. And the first time, and I've met with my nurse since then because I actually went to middle school with her and high school. We've gotten lunch, and she was able to recap everything that had happened that night. She had said that I went down. The first time was 36 minutes. She got me back for a minute and then I went down again for another 10 minutes. And then they were really scared to take me to the ICU because once you're in that elevator, so if something happens, you're kind of
Right.
SOL. But they got me down there, they got me in the ICU, they got me intubated. And from then on, they were just kind of maintaining me. They put me on dialysis because my kidneys failed. And that's something that I was going to touch on too is, when your heart fails, everything kind of fails, right?
Right. Because none of your other organs can get the proper oxygen
They're
that they
not.
need.
Yeah, so my liver failed, my kidneys failed, my lungs were kind of messed up. I don't think they had failed or, there was no malfunction at that point. And luckily my brain was still neurologically intact at that point because of
I
the
was going
lack
to
of,
say, to me, that is a miracle.
oh yeah,
The fact
absolutely.
that this happened when you were in the hospital, because I
Yeah,
mean, Christmas Day, no one wants to go into the ER on Christmas Day.
exactly.
And like you said, you're kind of like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to get in the way. But you are the only one who's in your body. And I have said this time and time again on these live conversations that we have with people, that you are the only one who can advocate for yourself because you're the only
Exactly.
one experiencing it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what a miracle that it happened in the hospital. You had made the decision to say, hey, I'm having trouble breathing. Get people in the
Hmm.
room right now.
Yeah,
And then they were there for it and able to then
definitely.
take it from there on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm so thankful that like that's where I was in that moment, because I don't know what would have happened if I was at home and that had happened, or,
Mm-hmm.
just anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that I was able to speak up for myself and get myself there. And I've always been like terrified of hospitals. Like after my dad passed away, that's just not a place that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really proud of myself for making that decision. But after the two cardiac arrests, I had been put on an intubator, and I was intubated. I'm
You're
telling you,
intubated.
words are not working in this right now. This is not working. Oh my
I'm only
gosh.
asking you to recount one of the worst moments of your life. I don't know why your brain wouldn't be working right now.
It's not even that. It's just teaching sixth graders all day and then having to talk after work. It's hard. But yeah, so I was intubated and I was there, oh gosh, from Christmas Day to New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So I was intubated and they were just maintaining. They were literally just maintaining me. There was nothing that they could do because I needed to see someone that was a little bit more advanced than the hospital that I was at. So I was meta-flighted to Stanford. Um, and then I remember waking up a couple days later there. So I was meta-flighted on New Year's Eve of into 2021. So I got there right probably when the clock hit 12. So that was kind of cool. I don't remember any of it, but I was in a helicopter, so that's cool. I marked that off my bucket list.
No big deal.
Yeah, right. It only cost $64,000. Jeez,
Oh
Louise.
my. I feel like that's a whole other conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but when we
Can I
got that
can you
bill,
can you tell me, do you have any memory of going into cardiac arrest, of what that felt like?
I don't have memory of like what it felt like. I remember though coming to a little bit because they had to wake me up to make sure that my brain was still, kicking.
Functioning. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but my issue with that was that I didn't know where I was. I had no idea what was happening. I was restrained because I guess I got a little crazy. I was agitated, which is crazy to me because I don't get agitated. I'm not an agitated person. Um, but I remember feeling like I got kidnapped. And that's like the best way that I could describe it is I genuinely was looking at these people that kept waking me up to like check on me and they'd just be like, you're in the hospital, you're okay. But they wouldn't say why, at least to my knowledge that I remember. And I would like try to talk to them. And I remember listening back to like a conversation. My mom luckily recorded everything so she would have it because obviously she was going through a
Genius.
very hard time. Yeah. And I was listening back, and the nurse was telling her I was trying to talk to her, and I couldn't. And I was like, I literally remember that moment because I was trying to ask her why, like, what happened to me, like, why am I here? But nobody ever said anything. So I felt like I got kidnapped. And when I finally woke up at Stanford, everything clicked, and it made sense. And I was like, oh, okay, your
Now
heart's
I
failing.
know.
Now I
Right.
know. Like, cool. So then when it happened all over again, I knew.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
side note for anyone watching right now, it is a huge tool for you to use. I highly recommend doctor's appointments, or if you're asking your doctor a question, to record things, just a voice
Mhm.
memo, so
Yep,
that you can understand it later on, because it's very
exactly.
hard to retain all of this information that you're taking in.
Absolutely.
And especially, a lot of us get nervous in a hospital or in a medical setting. I highly recommend recording any questions that you have and what your doctor has to say in response, recording any medical jargon that you might not understand and looking it up later. Just all of these things, very, very important for you to have a greater understanding of your personal health.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was really smart of her and my sister to take that initiative because like they're getting thrown things left and right and they can't come to the hospital. So it
Right.
was really helpful for them to probably go back to those conversations. And then for me in my healing process to kind of understand what I
Yes.
actually went through. Cause you know, you look down at your body and you're like, wow, you're a warrior. But then what happened? Like, why do you have that scar? Where did this come from? You know,
And
like it's
also, your mom recording that for you, if she was going to be the one relaying information to you, you were going to have
mhm,
questions for her, and she's not
exactly,
equipped to answer them.
exactly,
Right. So
100%.
you were at Stanford for how long?
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks. And then after there, you went into cardiac rehab.
Yes, I went to cardiac rehab. I came back to Modesto.
Hmm.
I went to cardiac rehab. I think I was there for like 5 days. After the first day, I was deemed independent. I had a little bracelet. It said I could walk on my own. Yeah, it was super cool.
Star student, yet again, star student.
Exactly, overachiever. I'm an overachiever. I was very proud of that bracelet. I gave it to my nephew because I was
I
like, this
love
is
it.
very special. Yeah. So that was really cool. I was still on dialysis at that point. I think I was getting it every night for like 4 hours because it went from like continuous dialysis. It's called CRRT or CRT, one of the two. But that's like continuous dialysis where they don't take you off of it. You're just constantly on that machine. And then it became intermittent where it was like every night for like 4 hours or whatever. And dialysis is exhausting, whether or not, you know, you're just a normal person going out and living your life or staying in
Hmm.
a bed because you're recovering. Either way you cut it, it's like so tiring.
And what is the extent, or what was the extent of your cardiac rehab? What did your days entail?
Watching The Crown.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
so
I
important right now. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I need to go back and rewatch it though because I don't remember any of it. So I only got through like the first 10 episodes because they're so long. But a lot of my friends actually got to come visit like through the wall or the window. So what we would do is they would bring like lawn chairs, and since it's COVID, they can't come inside. So
Right.
they'd set up shop right in front of me, and I'd call them and I'd be able to talk to them that way. And my nurses moved my bed so I would be able to like lay there and get dialysis, eat my food, do what I needed to do, and be able to talk to my friends and family because I was right down the street from like where I live. So that
Wow,
was
that
really
must have
cool.
been a very integral part of your fast healing as well. That must have
Absolutely.
really, yeah.
Oh yeah, it
How amazing
totally
that you
pushed
had that
me.
support system. Yes.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I'm very thankful for that time, especially because it happened all over again. So I was at rehab for like 5 days. I did like
Hmm.
cardiac rehab. They had me like on the treadmill. I remember walking on like bars. They taught me how to get in and out of a car because you had to like conserve your energy. So that was something I had to like learn how to do. And they were basically telling me, as someone with heart disease, you know, you need to get like an electrical toothbrush, and you need to have like a um, what are those called? Like a pincher to like pinch things so you're not bending over a lot. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like a
Yes.
grabber, I guess. And looking back, like I don't need that anymore, but it was a good idea at the time. But like they preached about conserving your energy because you're just gonna get wiped out so fast. And I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like I'm a teacher, I'll be fine. Like it'll be fine. But I did get an electrical toothbrush. That was my treat to myself. I've
And
never
your
had
and your
one.
teeth have never felt better.
Right. So yeah, that was the extent of it really. I think I was only there for like 5 days. And the
Mhm.
day that I was gonna get discharged, my blood pressure just went pew. I remember I texted my best friend and she was asking me like, how are you feeling today? And I said, I feel really icky. And that was the last thing that she heard from me. I had gone back to the ER. Um, and I remember that trip. And it's weird because I had like a flashback. I couldn't remember it before, but I was watching Grey's Anatomy, and you know the old medical beds that like have like the railing on them, the metal railing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what Doctors has in Modesto. And I remember I was laying in that bed and I was so swollen and so big that I could barely fit. And I was watching Grey's Anatomy, fast forward into my story a little bit more, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this big guy in this bed, I totally remember like feeling like that." And then that's when it clicked that I had been in the ER at that time because I couldn't remember the second time I went back. It was crazy. But that time I had just been diagnosed with like pneumonia and they sent me back to rehab. A couple hours later, I wasn't getting better. They sent me back to the ER. So I made 2 ER trips that day. And the second time they actually admitted me. And that time I don't remember. All I know was that I had gotten, I think the first cardiac arrest was 8 minutes, and then the second one was 7 minutes. And after that, they intubated me and put me on VA ECMO. So that
And
was a wild one.
ECMO is no joke.
Nope.
ECMO
Absolutely not.
is removing the carbon dioxide out of your blood for you.
Yep.
It is completely
Doing
circulating your blood,
work.
doing
Yep.
the work for your body.
Yeah, because everything shut down. I was back on CRT. I probably had jaundice so bad. I was probably so yellow because my liver got shocked. Yeah, I was on VA ECMO, so it was taking over my lungs and my heart for me. And I was on that for about 10 days.
And this was in what month?
This was January 19th, I think it started. And then I think I got off of it. Maybe it wasn't 10 days. I feel like I was on it. I don't know.
But basically, in the matter of a month to a month and a half,
Basically,
you have gone into cardiac arrest 4 times.
4 times. Mm-hmm.
4 times.
4 times.
So say it one more time. 4 times.
4 times.
Oh my, just ridiculous. Okay, so at this point, how long were you in the hospital?
So from a month.
A month.
A month, yeah.
And after that, you were on like an LVAD?
Yeah, so I was put on ECMO at Doctors Medical Center in Modesto,
Yes.
and they don't have LVAD facility there.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed another higher level of care, and they wanted to send me back to Stanford, but Stanford didn't have a bed.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they called, I think a surgeon that used to work at Doctors now worked at Sutter, or did work at Sutter, and he had a connection and he got me a bed fairly quickly. I think I had it in like 3 days. So they transported me about an hour and a half away from Modesto, and they transported me on VA ECMO. So they had to be really, really careful. I went vroom down the freeway, and I ended up there. I think it was January 21st of 2021 that I ended up there. And I want to say I probably woke up on like the 28th or something. I feel like that sounds about right. I was out for a while when I got there. But when I woke up, the first thing they said, I remember the surgeon and the nurse practitioners came in and they're like, look, you're not going to last very long. I don't know if that's apparent to you, but you need an LVAD to survive. This is what it is. It's a heart pump, and it pumps oxygenated blood to your body. The batteries are external. You carry them around with you 24/7, and you plug into the wall at night, and you're going to be walking life support, essentially. And I think I remember saying, like, put it in right now, as well as I could, because I didn't have a voice at that time.
You were ready.
But yeah, and my family had already told them. They had gone through, I think, a little bit of education on it already. They were like, she's not going to say no. And looking back, I'm like, what if I did though? Obviously I wouldn't, but they knew that I wouldn't have said no. So I was just like, put it in right now. And they're like, well, we have to wait a little bit. Cause I had an Impella. I had 2 Impellas, and they put in a bigger one for me to get my heart back to kind of like, what would you call it? Like to make it not so sick anymore, I guess, to make it be able to withstand that surgery. And then February 8th, they implanted the LVAD.
And do you still have your LVAD?
Yep. It's right here in my bag.
In your cute bag.
I know. Isn't it so cute?
How heavy is an LVAD?
Oh gosh, this is probably like 6, 7, maybe 8 pounds. Because it's 2 batteries. I could actually take it out, because people are always like, oh, what does it look like? So I have 2 of these. So 2 of these big old 14-volt batteries. They're huge. So I have to carry 2 of those, and then I have this big old controller. Yeah. This is Frederick.
This is Frederick. I was just going to say, tell me that it has a name. This is YUR Bionics Heart.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It goes with my name. I can't call myself Iron Man because I'm not a man. And people have come up with like really cool names. I know there's like LVAD Dad. Oh gosh, there's another one.
And of course, most
Uh,
famously, again, taking it back to Grey's Anatomy, Denny Duquette with
yep.
his LVAD
Yeah, but
was,
that was not accurate at
it was
all.
not accurate, but
No.
it opened all of our eyes to the power
Yep.
of an LVAD.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
So you now know that you are someone who is living in heart failure,
Mhm.
and you will need a new heart.
Yep. Yep.
So now
Hopefully
you
not
are
anytime soon, but I'm in the process.
in the process of
Hmm.
being on the heart transplant list at some point.
Yes. Yep.
How does that make you feel?
I'm a little scared, but I think that I mean, I can't start testing until January, so I would say that that's going to take a couple months to do. And honestly, I'm just trying to ride this out as long as I can,
Mm-hmm.
because with heart transplant, you never really know. So it's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of fear, but at the end of the day, I just want to be normal again and take a shower again and be able to go swimming again. I just saw my sister commented.
I
I
know,
love you.
right? How great is that?
Yeah, I know. Go swimming with my sister and be able to like hang out with her,
Yeah.
outside again because we love being outside and it's just
One of the things that you said to me in our very first time that we spoke on the phone was, you said, people always tell me that I'm so strong and they can't
Mhm.
believe it. And you said, yeah, but you're strong when you need to be strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I think that people just don't understand like their strength. I would get a paper cut and cry. I mean, I still get a paper cut and cry. Like when you get thrown into a situation, and you can ask any of the people in my life, if you had met me before all of this happened to me, you'd be like, no, she couldn't handle that. She couldn't do it. But you show up and you do it. And if you want to survive, you have to do it. It's your life.
it's your life.
It's literally your life. You don't have a choice. You don't. So you just do it.
Right. Well, the fact that you made that decision to keep fighting, the fact that,
Yeah.
it started from the very beginning that you were fighting for your own health.
Yeah.
You were fighting.
Hmm.
You have to know how special that is and how inspiring you are and
Absolutely.
how powerful you are. Truly. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I saw my sister just said she couldn't even swallow pills. And that's totally true. My
But
best
like,
friend used, but no, honestly, we used to put them in cheese so I could swallow them. I'd get really bad headaches and we'd have to put them in cheese and then I would pop them. But then now I have to take 13 pills every morning. And
you're
I'm
like, this is
literally just
cake.
like,
It's not even
dude,
a thing.
one swig, and that's it. And those suckers are down. I'm not
Get it
even
over with.
kidding. Yeah. I'm like, it's
Stop.
not choking. No, I can handle it.
I've
Yeah,
got it.
it's
I've seen much worse. I've seen
literally,
much worse.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, being somebody who's living with heart failure, how has that
Mhm.
affected the rest of your body? Has it caused any
Um,
other issues with anything?
yeah, one of my medications that I was on caused me to kind of like start to lose my vision a little bit, but my doctors were able to do a spinal tap and get that fluid out of my brain because I got a fake brain tumor, which sounds crazy, but it's called a pseudotumor, something that I didn't
Casual.
know that was a thing until I had to go through it. So that put me in the hospital for about 10 days. But my vision is fine now. It's, back to whatever normal was for me before. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's about the only thing. I mean, I just have like body aches and stuff from having to carry this dang bag around with me all the
Yeah, I was
time.
gonna say that has to kind of wear on you a little bit. That's
A
you're
little
carrying
bit,
around
yeah.
a weight all day long.
Yeah.
It's that's a lot. It's your body probably compensates in other ways, and I'm sure that you get
Yeah.
sore and tired.
Oh yeah. You'd think I'd be skinny.
Stop it.
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
I'm so amazed that you're like, yeah, I'll come and have a conversation with you after work. It'll be good. I'm like, girl, you're gonna be tired. You're like, I'm good, it's fine. 4 p.m. right after I get home from work?
We're
Absolutely.
just
Let's do it.
talking. It's
I
cool.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So then something else that I wanted to ask you was, did you ever find out what caused all of this? We talked about the causes of all the different heart diseases that people in
Right.
your family had experienced, but
Uh-huh.
what caused you to go into heart failure? Is it something you
So
could have avoided?
no. When I was at Stanford, they did genetic testing and I was found to have the Titan mutation. I want to say the like shortened version is the TTN.
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing. It's just like the protein in my heart or my muscles, like that are not strong enough to withstand. I don't know. I need to look it up. But I have a type mutation, which I don't know if I could have done anything to prevent it. Maybe like push it out a little bit longer. I could have definitely eaten better. But other than that, there's nothing that I could have done. And I've even talked to my doctors about it. And the fear of like red meat and how cardiologists are like, no, you can't eat red meat. And my doctors are like,
Mm-hmm.
no, your arteries are fine. You need to eat red meat because you're anemic. And I'm like, okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay, perfect example of how
Mm-hmm.
there are exceptions to every rule,
Exactly.
and the fact that you have gone in and spoken to your doctor about it, and they know this specific thing about your health.
Yep.
Great that they can give you tailored advice for
Yeah.
your health. Yes.
Yeah. They're like, go eat a steak. It's fine. Like, really? Me? So it's very
Thanks.
exciting. It's very exciting. So yeah,
I
it's
love
just
it.
interesting the more that you learn. It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
very overwhelming. And like I was like eating dinner with my husband last night and I'm like, man, I was thinking, I didn't say it out loud, but he is so knowledgeable. And he didn't have to be. He took it on himself, and I think a lot of the people around me have done that too, is they want to learn more, and they've been able to then go out and tell people like, watch your symptoms. So I think that it's just super powerful, and I'm glad that I get to be someone that's part of it.
That is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how did he cope with all of this? How is he coping with all of this? You're newlyweds,
Yeah.
and you make those vows, and then all of a sudden the vows are challenged immediately.
Well, we got married after the fact, but
Oh, you did. Oh, okay.
yeah, he was my
he. I love him.
I do too. Yeah, no, we got engaged. Oh gosh, like so I got out of the hospital the end of March and we got engaged in June of last year and then we got married in January.
Wonderful.
But no, he's fantastic. He would drive when I could start to finally get visitors. He would drive every single day that he was off of work just to come hang out with me at the hospital. And he took like a month and a half off to hang out with me and take care of me. And even to this day, he's still cooking for me and helping me with my laundry and vacuuming the house and doing all these things. He's fantastic. And not only that, but like just being a good emotional support. Like I feel very safe talking to him about things, which is super important. I think that, you know, I have a lot of feelings and I need to feel comfortable talking to my partner about that. And he's been
Absolutely.
fantastic and I think he's been coping pretty well.
Absolutely. Mental health
Hmm.
is something that goes overlooked so often.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And a lot of heart disease survivors have a really hard time mentally because it's very intense. And the fact that you have such a great support system, the fact that you have such a supportive partner really is wonderful. I'm so happy that you have all of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're such an amazing, positive person now.
Hmm.
And hearing that you were this like bright, spunky little girl running around, being so active, being so crazy, being so whatever, having your nose in a book. I absolutely love it. And then now you are this person who is spreading knowledge everywhere
Hmm.
from your personal experience. Not many people could do that. Not many
Yeah.
people would have that effect or have that ripple effect. And so I'm
I
so
appreciate
honored
that.
that you came on here with me today to talk to me, to spread awareness, to shed light on your experience. If you had someone look at you and say, I think I'm good, I think I'm healthy, I'm not really worried about anything, what would
No,
you say to them?
I don't care, go to the doctor because you never know. You literally never know. It's crazy. Like you could be so healthy and then the next day you could catch a cold and then get heart failure from that cold. Like you really have to be mindful of, what your surroundings and what you're putting into your body. And I mean, that's why I found your TikTok about like the energy drinks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. People like they're just scared of going to the doctor, and I understand that fear because if you asked me the last time I had gone to the doctor before all of this, it was a long time. It was a very long time, but I just think that people need to take it more seriously because you can be healthy, but then the next day you couldn't be,
Right.
and
Or
it happens so fast.
you can feel or appear to be healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you don't know if you have high cholesterol. I think I was like looking back and at your interview with Jamie Foxx because I was like, she's
Yes.
interviewed Jamie Foxx. Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx. I love Beat Shazam. That's my goal to go on Beat Shazam. Oh my gosh, you'd be so good at that. Me and my sister, we would bring home the bacon. That'd be good.
You
But
guys.
he was saying, wasn't he saying like he thought he
Yeah.
was healthy and then he had high cholesterol?
He was
You
in the
don't
best shape of
know.
his life. He was in the
Yeah.
quote unquote best shape of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And was physically, if you were to look at him, you know, muscular and lean and looked amazing. And then a physician just kind of convinced him, come in, just let me look, let
Yeah.
me test your blood for you,
Yeah.
because it happens all too often where the first sign of
Is blood
someone
work.
having an issue, well, no, not even his blood work, is
No.
a heart attack or going into
Yeah.
cardiac arrest,
True.
something where, because it's gone completely undetected. It happens all
Yeah.
too often.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is the downside of my job. I see it all too often and talk
Mm-hmm.
to too many people who it happens to. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Be proactive about your health.
Yep.
Advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm going to throw this one in there too, because this is something that you have taught me. Don't underestimate yourself.
No,
You are
literally.
incredible. You
Yeah.
are strong enough.
Yeah, for sure. And people need to remind themselves of that because I hear it over and over again. I don't think I could do what you've done. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, you will be able to if you need to. You just have to do it. You'll figure it out. And luckily for people like me, there's a huge sense of like community and support on social media too. I'm very thankful for everybody that has been on social media. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have the ability to reach out to people that are like me. Because till this day, I've never met someone in person with an LVAD in person. But
Wow.
I've spoken to a lot of people on social media that have had an LVAD or have an LVAD. So that alone is just so powerful to me. And I'm so
Magic.
grateful. Mm-hmm.
How wonderful that we exist in this time, truly.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, like, we've never met in person, but here we are
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation,
We would
and
be besties.
plenty, I know, right? We'd be hanging out watching The Crown.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Oh my gosh. I'm so thankful for you and grateful for you for coming on here and sharing your
Yeah.
story. Do you have any last words for anybody watching this video that you want to share? Any last little pearls of wisdom?
Oh gosh, just enjoy every day. Every
Love
single
it.
day.
I
Every
love
day.
it.
Find the
You
good in
guys,
every single day, even if it's a bad one.
even if it's a bad one, true.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a silver lining somewhere,
Yep.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
You guys, thank you so much for joining me on here. Nicole, thank you. I'm Hannah with the Heart Foundation. Remember, you're never too young and it's never too late to start living a more heart healthy lifestyle. Nicole, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.